Hey out there, legal warriors. Do you ever wonder what factors criminal attorneys consider in deciding what case they're going to take? Like, are they going to take your case? If you're calling around to really popular and effective criminal defense attorneys, they are really going to screen what cases they take or not take. And so if you're interested in the answer to that question, stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington state for more than 20 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it. More people get the help they need. Now I'm just going to jump right into it. Criminal attorneys, especially the good ones, are really, really busy. And they also, hopefully, really care about the outcomes they get. And hopefully they also really care about knowing when people spend money on them to help, defend a case, they care about, what value they can give for the money that they're being paid. And so there are several factors that a criminal defense attorney will consider in deciding whether or not they're going to take a case. And I'm going to go through, I don't even know the number because I just speak off the top of my head, but I'm going to go through the factors that come to my mind in no particular order. So the first factor that comes to mind is, how difficult does the case seem in the mind of the attorney to get the result that the client needs? Okay, so if a client comes in and says that, I've got a 0.35 breath test, and I got pulled over for crashing my car into a brick wall, and I had 2 passengers, one of which was a nun, and it's my 3rd offense, but I need this case dismissed tomorrow. Well, I'm not taking that case, right? It's not likely we're going to be able to come up with that result. It's too difficult of a case to deal with for whatever caseload I might have, for whatever value I want to provide. What you don't want to do as a defense attorney is, take cases where you're going to have a disappointed client at the end because no one's happy. And hopefully, as part of doing your job, anyone doing their job, they try to be happy to some degree. So how difficult the case is something that an attorney will consider when they're deciding whether to take it. And related to that is number 2. What are the expectations of the client, right? If a client has reasonable sounding expectations, and it's likely you're going to be able to achieve those expectations. So let's say it's a domestic violence case, it's someone's first offense, and it's not the most serious sounding case, and the alleged victim's on the side of the defendant is willing to do classes, and we know what to expect in the court if we do a good job. Well, in that case, the attorney's probably more likely to take the case because it's more likely they can be successful in achieving what the client needs, which is hopefully avoiding a conviction, protecting them from jail, protecting their future, getting them back home. And so second is sort of what the client's expectations are. The third thing that comes to mind is, what is the burden to the firm distance-wise and other transactional cost-wise in doing the case? I'm located in Linwood, Washington, and if you call my firm up wanting me to go to a case in Spokane, I'm probably not going to be willing to take the case where I have to go to Spokane because it's going to be too burdensome on my staff and too burdensome on my ability to help all my other clients if I have to drive 3.5 hours or however long it is to get to Spokane each way for every court hearing. Well, I might have a client I like, and I might be able to get the result if the case is so far outside of a geographic area that makes it possible and feasible for me to do, that I'm probably not going to take that case. And it's sad because we get a lot of calls from people that have far, far away cases, Vancouver, Washington, Spokane, other areas. And, we have to turn those people down, even though we could help. We really can't because of the burden it would be to us. We try to refer out in those situations, but it's something to consider and something we do consider when deciding whether or not we can take a case. I think the fourth factor relates to that is, how much, what is the effect of taking this case on the staff, right? if you've got a trial case, it's a case that's likely to go to trial, it's a major felony, you're accused of killing someone, or a major offense that is an assault type offense or something like that, and we know it's going to be if once it gets to trial, it's going to be a 3-week trial, and it's going to take 3 attorneys, and I've got other cases that are going to go to trial too. Well, the timing of that might say, hey, that firm might not be able to take the case, at least if they're going to be honest and a respectable firm. We're not going to take a case where we think that our resources will be stretched so thin that we won't be able to do a good job for you or for our other clients, right? That's why more successful firms will turn down more cases where they got successful by taking the right cases where they can actually get the result. The scary thing is that person might call around to another firm who perhaps thinks differently or is more in a financial difficulty and will just take the case, and now you're in bad shape because maybe they can't provide the services and they just wanted the money, right? So that's something that's scary out there. So it's hard sometimes to find the right match if you have a very serious case. I think the fifth thing is simply the client. Is the client going to be an A client or an F client? And we have videos on that, how to be an A client, but that could cover a lot of factors. But it's like some things that stick out in my mind is, is the client going to follow instructions? Is the client going to be responsive and try to do what we need? Is the client going to try to tell us how to do our job because they think they need, that they know? These are all, bad things. Is the client going to go to lawyer Google, right, and just say, well, this should happen, and I did this research for you, and here's this and that? Those are all signs of a bad client, at least as far as the experience with the attorney, not a bad person. And we're going to be much more likely to turn that case down because it's a total nightmare for the attorneys that are trying to provide the service. So if you want to be an A client, you say things like, how can I help you defend me, right? Hey, I promise that I'm not going to call you 10 times a week unless there's actually something going on, right? And we're going to be considerate, but you want to realize that when you're trying to get that highly rated firm to take your case, we are judging you and what it's going to be like judging what the interaction is going to be like, and whether or not we're going to be able to work together in a way where we're going to have less stress and strife in trying to get you the result that you need and deserve. Another factor that we do actually consider is what is the effect of the client's case on the reputation of the firm, right? We have to decide what case we're going to take. And if we have a particularly, nasty or difficult situation, maybe it's involving animal cruelty and we're all dog lovers, maybe we will consider whether or not we want to be involved in that type of case. We've represented people all types of things, but wouldn't be entirely transparent if I say firms don't consider that, right? What is this a case we want to get behind or not? Because again, if we are a more successful firm, we have a lot more choices of who we're going to help. Even though we really want to help everybody, we simply can't help everybody because of the demand. I think the final thing a law firm will often consider whether or not they're going to take the case is, is there a good match between attorney style and what the client needs? And I know it sounds similar, but it's not. In other words, some people say, I really want my attorney to fight hard. I want an aggressive attorney and stuff like that. This is what I want. Well, if I agree that that's going to be a successful approach for this particular case, then I have to think, well, do I have that attorney available, right? I've got 7 attorneys, including me right now in my firm, and I would say a couple of us sort of fit that, stereotype of how we fight cases. Or does the client need someone more emotional, someone who has more psychological ability to help, right? Emotional intelligence. And I'm like, well, do we have someone available that is going to be a good fit for that client? And so we will turn down cases if I don't see a good fit between what I think a client needs and what it is at least my firm has available. And each firm's going to be different, but I can only talk about how I think defense attorneys decide what cases to take when they're making a decision about what cases to take. It's not just about the money. You can put all comments, you can say otherwise, plenty of attorneys it will be, but at least for a reputable, honorable, and successful law firm, we're trying to create a win-win situation. Otherwise, it's just not worth it for any of us, right? So I hope you found that useful. If so, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it. More people get the help they need. And more importantly, if you have a criminal matter in Washington State, feel free to reach out to my firm. If we follow up and get through all these categories right, it sounds like we could possibly get on board. If so, we'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.